Coming up in today's episode of Circle Back.
If I want to do, Joey Love Island theory here, maybe she played it up a bit because she's been wanting Mr. Andy to leave his wife here.
If you tried that at the 2040 game at Foxwoods, 2040 limit game, there's a 50% chance you're getting punched in the face.
We all know Trump does a lot of stuff that doesn't happen, China. So, tell us why this is different.
I'm looking at the photo here. Look at the size of this thing. What could possibly be in this book? Like, what could possibly fill up all of these pages?
When I first read this tweet, the first thing I said was, this guy's a big time fucking loser. I mean,
so I saw some ulterior theories that I think might be true here, that he doesn't want to get exposed.
One thing I want to leave with all the listeners here is,
disclaimer: the content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. It's Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel. It's part of the Hammer Betting Network and presented by Kalshi. This is the show where we cover the latest and greatest stories from gambling Twitter. And sometimes those stories go beyond gambling, but they still very much involve Twitter. We had the biggest story, I think, in the world, which we are going to cover today with a little bit of a betting spin. And I can't wait for you guys to get to that point. So make sure you stick around for the full episode today with myself, your host, Jacob Gramegna, lead producer here at The Hammer, and your host, as always, on Circle Back. Our usual crew for these Friday episodes. First of all, we have Flup No Lie, Chris Dierkes in the bottom left corner. We have Joey Knish in the bottom right corner. And our fourth for today is China, at Chinamaniac. He's been a previous guest here on Circles Off with an interview, which I'm going to link in the description below. A very good interview for you to check out. He's a 17-year gambling pro, and he's part of the Gambling Chronicles podcast. China, thank you so much for joining us today.
hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Very much the pleasure is ours. Knish, we see your Joey corporate today out in the office.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I mean, I knew I had the best hair on the show after Isaac left, and China's not giving me a run for my money on that. So happy to have him on. But yeah, little. You know what? The clock never stops here for Joey on the grind.
Putting in the hours, putting in that 9 to 5. But we do have somebody who might be able to help you leave that 9 to 5 condition. We have the easiest way to get out of that 9 to 5 work and become a professional in the sports betting space. But it's not necessarily
WAP.
Exactly. It's not in the way you might think. That is exactly what it is. It is about creating a dub club or a WAP. We have Chef Parlay at One Snow G, who said, if you ever feel like giving up, remember this. I quit my 9 to 5 over a year ago. The very next month, I ran up $60,000. And now, just a year later, I've touched over $250,000. Bet on you every time. This was screenshotted by Spinfluencer, who does content similar to what we do here on Circle Back, but does it on Twitter, covering these sorts of stories, and quotes it by saying, bet on you every time, but also bet on me by giving me money for losing picks. The inspiration we all needed at 5 a.m. And this is kind of the story with these WAPs and these dub clubs. It's not about actually providing a winning service and making money in that way, Knish. It is about how much money they're making off of the people that are subscribing to the picks. What do you think on that, Knish?
It's amazing how many of these are this is like commonplace now. We see like one a week where one of these people who built up an insane following from just, doing, 8-leg parlays, home run parlays, NBA parlays. And they're talking to you about, how like, this is great. I'm flying to Spain. I don't have to work anymore. But it's never about like how much. It's almost, I don't even like, how can't people compute this? It's not even like how much money I've made gambling or betting. It's, It's like WAP, Dub Club, all these subscriptions. They changed my life. It's unbelievable. But it's just subscription money that the people are paying you for picks. It's not actually I've won anybody money or I've myself been successful, or maybe they'll give you that cover story. It's I'm getting this X amount of payout. You've even seen people screenshot the payouts like, you think I'm a pretender? Look how much I'm getting paid. It's like that's the fucking Dub Club subscription fees, you idiot. Like this is I don't know. Maybe this is the new. People used to go to work around here at the Motor City, on the line for Ford or GM and earn a living. This is the new. Now it's either streamer or Dub Club or whatever Flup does.
Wow, what did I do to get attacked there? But I think I want to touch on something you mentioned, the cover story. In this tweet, we saw the cover story. Chef Parlay said that she ran up 60K 1 month, implying that she bet and made 60K in 1 month. And I think like most of the Dub Clubbers and WAP guys do a good job, in my opinion, of like really going with the cover story that, hey, it's FanDuel that they're profitable off of, which DraftKings are the profitable off of. And of course you have the dum-dums that like show like their Dub Club earnings for the month. And it's like, okay, if that's what you're flexing, you're not even trying here. It's pretty sad when like anyone pushes back at them and asks for like proof of like winning slips or proof of like their P&Ls. And they're like, oh, well, I bet on stuff on the side that I don't share them to my subscribers. And I can't give that out. It's just like all this is obvious tells. I don't know how they get so many subscribers. I wish I had low enough morals to do it, because then I would probably make a killing too. But unfortunately, I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah, I always wonder where the subscribers come from. But we'll go to you, China, on this one. You're pretty vocal about not paying for any services, not paying for stuff like this. You think that if you connect with the right people, you can make money in sports betting. What are your thoughts on something like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game. Connect with the right people, network, and just let them do the work. It looks like this is so we got a female here selling picks. That's it. You get a bunch of followers across social media, and you just sell picks. But
and the chef cooks up the parlay for you. She's she's as our former co-host Nadu would say, she's in the kitchen cooking up parlay for you here, earning some money. So maybe not such a bad gig.
Yeah, one thing we were talking about before we went live was, Mizrachi wins 9 or 10 all-ins in a row. It was 1 in 364 to hit all 9 or 10 of those. The odds of this person here running up this much gambling in a month is probably triple that. So I don't know. Yeah.
We're going to get to Mizrachi a little bit later on, as you can see with the rundown. But without further ado, let's get into the biggest topic in the world, I think. This was absolutely everywhere over the last 24 hours up until our recording. And I imagine it will still be dominating news feeds, Twitter feeds, even when this comes out Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern time. So we had a video that was posted to TikTok. I think it's by @InstaGrace, it says, and this made rounds from PopCrave, @PopCrave, who showcased Coldplay's Chris Martin accidentally exposing astronomer CEO Andy Byron having an affair with his CPO, Kristen, I think it's Cabot. And there's a video of them on the big screen at the Coldplay concert. And he's got his arms around her, looks like they're having a good time. But as soon as the camera pans to them, there was a look of fear and horror. Quickly, Andy Byron ducks out of frame. Kristen Cabot quickly turns around. Very awkward situation. Coldplay's lead singer, Chris Martin, immediately said either they're extremely shy or they're having an affair. Well, it turns out it was the latter. We see here from the Astronomer website, astronomer.io. If you don't know what Astronomer is, by the way, it's a tech company that helps businesses manage their data workflows, making it easier for the companies to schedule, monitor, fix data processes, whatever. It's a big company. It's worth over $1 billion. Andy Byron here is the CEO. As I said, Kristen Cabot on their website listed as the CPO, Chief People Officer. Immediately after this, and this became big, Andy Byron's wife removed his last name from her Facebook profile following that viral video and the alleged affair, which may not be alleged. And our sponsor, Kalshi, put up a market to see if people think he will leave his role as CEO of Astronomer in July. Now, I have the market up here. Originally, when I saw this, I actually thought it was going to be one of the fake markets, kind of like we saw with will Jeff Nadu be on the flight? It was a fake market. This is actually a real market that's up right now on the main page on Kalshi at the time of recording. I pulled this screenshot. It gave it a 44% chance. It's now up to a 49% chance currently, $172,000 of volume in this market. So seems like a lot of people betting into this as it's coming up. We'll go to you, Flip, first of all on this one. I saw you laughing. What was your reaction to seeing this one? Did you think it would get as big as it did?
No, this is incredible. I just I feel like this happens a lot more often than people realize. It's just like they don't get caught in this stupid manner.
Well, they're not
hilarious.
CEOs of billion-dollar companies.
Yes,
either.
and I'm actually trying to pull up Kalshi now because I definitely like a side there. I think not to get fired or not to leave is definitely good. Everyone overreacts to these kind of things. It's just a scam. At the end of the day, can the CEO print money and make money in the company? That's the only thing that matters. If he's a shitty person and cheats on his wife, that doesn't really affect the company whatsoever. The CPO is probably more likely to get fired because she'll be used as side damage or whatever. I don't know.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage. Thank you. Collateral damage for it. So I'm shocked that they're getting this much hype against it. I kind of want to fade the market there.
Interesting.
This is hilarious, and I don't get why people are acting like this is such a massive deal. This has to happen with politicians, a lot of powerful people all the time. It's just funny. I mean,
it's very funny.
To you.
This is very funny.
The thing being, if they just here's the fact of the matter is, nobody outside of their circle would have any clue who these people are if they didn't blow the cover out of themselves. If you just got on camera and just laughed and were into it, they never make them word. It never makes the internet. It's never anything. It's the fact that she I don't know. There's some people are in their head on the sea level. Nobody's going to know who you are if you get put on the kiss cam or any of that stuff there. So yeah, she definitely didn't play it. Listen, if I want to do, Joey Love Island theory here, maybe she played it up a bit because she's been wanting Mr. Andy to leave his wife here. And so I think that was the final blow. I'll be interested to see if, they're still together here in a few months.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I don't think they're going to continue. They're both married. I don't think they will be married for very long after this. So will the relationship continue? Is that allowed within the company? I don't know. She's been reported as the HR chief. I don't know if that's the exact same.
I think that definitely reports to the CEO as the official only person here that's worked in a corporate environment recently. I think so. That. If she was just now, if you're the CEO, it's a rough look no matter what when you're married. But if she wasn't reporting directly to him, it's a little bit more at least okay from a complaint.
It's still a superior.
It's still a superior. But if you weren't, then I don't think you would have get. This looks like because if you're in the C-suite here and you're not her. You're wait a second, why was, Kristen's bonus 600% of stock options and mine was 30? Well, now I know why, or now I know why she got the promotion as chief talent officer over
We need to figure out, we need an investigative research and when was she promoted to a CPO? That's what we need to know.
Send it to Jason, our only investigative resource within the company. Maybe he's no Pablo Torre, but maybe he'll have it, by the end of the year or something.
Yeah, I was going to mention the same thing because we talked about the fallout, if he's going to leave his role, if she's going to leave her role, will they quit, will they get fired? But you're right, the internal investigation that will go in, the bonuses that are played, the raises that have been involved, the time frame of all this, the internal dialogue. I think what's also interesting, this is a big company. So imagine being an employee of Astronomer And like having this like sort of suspicion and then seeing it confirmed on the world stage, this has to be one of the best days of your life, especially if you don't. I mean, look, he's a CEO. I imagine people in the company don't really like him. To see this, it must be a really fun day for them. China, your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So the market is, will he leave in July? Correct. Is it in July?
He would have to leave before August 1st, 2025.
This is free. This is ridiculous. I'm now.
I was hard on the no until like I just thought about it. I mean, he's the CEO. Like, I mean, there might be an investigation. Maybe it carries over, but I think ultimately, like, this guy's going to be hitting the road. It's just a question of
got 2 weeks.
When it's going to happen. I mean, Joey Corporate, I mean, tell us, like, something like this happens and the CEO's involved, something this public. I mean, you got to think this guy's going to get the wood laid to him here.
I would lean with China too, that it happens, but not within the time constraints of the Kalshi market. I would take the no just because I don't think it'd be wrapped up by the end of July here, but he probably moves on at some point just due to how, like, if this hit the paper or something, like I hit the paper, I sound like, I'm like, GRP or something. But, if this just like, a story came out on social media and there wasn't this video, but like this is going to be a lasting meme forever. So the company probably moves in another direction at some point. I just don't think, I'd agree with Flav. Like within the next, 13, 14 days, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I just put an order in for the no. This is ridiculous in my opinion. And shows this is the counterparty on Kalshi. I hear about this on a podcast and I just immediately go place a bet. No further research. Who needs it? That's for Trump.
Trust your gut. Trust intuition. You should start selling these picks, man. You're giving them out for free. You could be making what is he?
Yeah, I wouldn't tail you if you're hearing this tomorrow or Friday morning rather. I wouldn't tail this because information could have changed. Like I could be punting. I don't even know. So I wouldn't do it. It's a fun sweat though.
Very fun sweat for this one. And it's only 2 weeks. I guess that's why the market kind of was put up as it was. It's down to, once again, 44%. As I was trying to get a screenshot of this for the show, it took me like 10 tries to get a screenshot where the price stayed the same because it kept on moving and moving and moving. So a lot of people seemingly buying into this market. It's on the front page of Kalshi, our sponsor on the show. As I said, you can sign up to Kalshi using the link in the description at any point as you're listening or watching. If you're watching, though, right now, you can use a QR code that is in the bottom right corner of the screen. Again, go into Kalshi. I mean, a lot of liquidity in these very strange markets. As we've learned, if you can think of a market existing, like the CEO of Astronomer leaving that position, it might exist on Kalshi with liquidity, a testament to the product that they have. We're going to switch gears here and go into the poker sphere for the next two topics that we have on the show. We're going to start off with the Hustler Casino Live's Max Payne Monday stream, I think it was, where we had some very familiar faces involved in a game. We have former panelists here on Circle Back Fridays and Jeff Nadu, who made it and was #1 trending on Twitter when he actually got off of his commercial flight to attend the event, which we talked about a little bit before. Well, I mean, we got dunked on pretty shortly after we recorded the Circle Back Tuesday. We recorded on Monday. Shortly after, Nadu did arrive on the plane. It was the biggest story on Twitter at the time. He played in the event with the likes of CBlez, Brett Feinstein, NBA Green Beans, Elf, and we have a couple of funny moments here. CBlez was talking Nadu up like the entire time. Also kind of got on his nerves when he shoved his pile of chips over, let his intrusive thoughts win. I don't really understand why, but had a long conversation with Nadu about his time with Barstool. The company that ran it said, was Jeff Nadu underpaid at Barstool Sports? BlezBets wants to hire Jeff Nadu and pay him what he's worth. Meanwhile, Jeff Nadu makes a sick fold mid-convo. Jeff Nadu is talking about how he was offered $85,000 to work for Barstool as a salary. He wanted $200,000, and there was a conversation about whether it was Dave Portnoy or Jeff Nadu who was being selfish. In the end, Elf posted the final results, where we saw Jeff Nadu lose $4,000. Elf profited $1,000. A lot of people dunked on Brett Feinstein and NBA Green Beans for going down nearly $12,000 in the event. But it seems like you guys are pretty excited. Knish, you are the most excited out of all of us to talk about this. What's on your mind with this event?
Okay, first off, I know that I'm sitting with two guys that played poker. We even called professionally for many years. First things first, the someone knocking over your chip stack is a pretty big, like, if you're at a private game, that could go badly. For like, I know this.
I disagree. No. I disagree completely. So it's funny. I was actually at a private game in Vegas, and I did that to someone as a joke, and it's a good way to like build friendly banter with someone. I would be shocked if like people took it the wrong way. As long as you know the person, and Blez and Nadu know each other, this, in my opinion, should not be taken seriously. It's a good joke. It really lightens the mood and a lot of time. In a lot of these private games, it's about building kind of a friendly atmosphere. And I think it's pretty funny to do. I'm actually shocked that like Nadu took offense to it. I think it's a little annoying, and if he continues to do it, it could be a problem. But it's funny in my opinion. And
what if it happens at a WSOP event?
Completely different. That is like out of line. It's more serious. But in a home game environment, which is Hustler Casino is a home game environment, I think it's very on brand and funny. China, I'm curious if you disagree with me there.
Yeah,
WSOP event, you might even get kicked out of the tournament and have your chips removed for touching for touching the chips. But in a situation like this, I agree with Flup. It's a little bit of breaking the ice, and there's really, even if the person across was a maniac, there's really nothing they can do. If they act out of line and retaliate somehow, they're just going to get kicked off the screen. So I don't know. That's just kind of where I leave it. I thought it was pretty funny though, the reaction that Nadu had there. I mean, he was just completely caught off guard, and I thought it was a great move by Blez. I thought it was a great move by Blez doing it too.
In the end, CBlez lost 8,000 on the event. Sorry, go ahead, Knish.
No, I was just gonna say I definitely it got an audible laugh out of me watching the video. But I was interested to hear your guys' take, because usually in some games I've been at, if you touch somebody's chips, it can be depending on who it is, it can get a little salty.
It's funny. I have an experience playing 1-3, which is typically the lowest stakes at casino in Borgata. I was playing with some friends there, and someone put a $5 chip out for their big blind, and I just took 5 $1 chips to change it for him. I'm trying to like speed up the game, be friendly, and he tells me, "Don't ever touch my chips again," in a very serious, angry tone. And ironically enough, the lower stakes it is, the more serious people take it, and the more offended they get, because typically the money means a lot to them. Typically, they don't know what they're really doing, and the higher stakes you go, the less serious it is, because most of the guys there have plenty of money to gamble with. I've played private games where there's like $10,000 pots all the time, $100,000 pots happening all the time, and they could care less, because these people are all guys with lots of money that are very serious, are comfortable outside of it and don't care about the money being gambled.
Yeah, I'll tell you this too. If you tried that at the 2040 game at Foxwoods, 2040 limit game, there's a 50% chance you're getting punched in the face.
Well, that's limit. That is, those people are crazy as is.
As far as the actual stream went, it's funny. I didn't watch, and I am not a poker expert by any means, but watching a little bit of the stream, I was easily like, is it Sashimi? Was like, oh, this girl's gonna win. Like she could sit with these people all day and be like, never have to work a day in her life again. Like easily you could tell that like who was actually gonna end up with the chips at the end of the day. She seemed like a significantly better player than who else was there.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if China disagrees with me here, but typically, the bigger the pot is, the more likely it is that there was just a cooler and both people kind of played it the hand okay. And I'm referring to a big hand that Brett Feinsod played with, if it was Jack 8 of spades versus 3 deuce. I don't know if you guys saw that hand. He flopped a nut flush. The other guy had 2 pair, turned to full house. I thought that hand was played well and a complete cooler. Nothing you can do there. And it was funny to me, people that don't like him dunking on him for that hand. I thought that was the wrong way to dunk on him. He did a ton of things wrong during Hustler and played very poorly, in my opinion. But it was all in smaller pots. But the problem is, and you'll see this a lot in recreational players, is they only remember the big pots, and they played them typically okay or even good in some cases, and they think, "Oh, I played good. I didn't deserve to lose." But if you really sit back and reflect, you got to look at all the smaller pots that you played, where you raised with a dumb hand or you called with a dumb hand, and it was a small pot. That's where your mistakes add up and compound, and that's when you can really tell if someone's good or bad. China, if you want to disagree with you.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there that, a lot of those small pots, they just compound over time. People will make big mistakes in the small blind versus the big blind, button versus small blind, button versus big blind. They accumulate. And generally, people only remember the big pots that they lose. And usually, most of those play themselves. And, the smaller pots will just compound over time. And that's where most people lose their money.
Yeah. What do you think? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And it's important to note for a lot of these smaller pots, poker, you can't use results a lot of the time in a single session. And if someone might say, "Oh, I won a lot of the smaller pots," well, that doesn't mean you played them well. And I was betting on the market, and I got some good prices, in my opinion. Like a little stat about myself: when I played semi-professionally for 2 years, on sessions of 8 hours in length, I only won in about 62 to 65% of those sessions. Which you might be thinking, oh, if you're so good and you're a professional, why shouldn't you be winning 100% of the time? No, there's a ton of variance. And you can go multiple sessions, you could go multiple months losing. So taking a single session and saying, oh, you played good or you got unlucky, and looking at a couple hands is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. Sorry, Jacob, if you want to.
Oh, no, I was going to kind of change topics just a little bit. I was just kind of going to ask a bit about like events like this. Do you like seeing more like personalities playing in these sorts of poker events? Like, what do you guys make of this as people who tend to watch poker a lot?
Well, I'm scared to comment because a certain panel member here said that watching streams is the biggest time suck for sports betting. So I'm a little scared to give my opinion there.
That's true. What do you think, China?
Yeah, I just don't watch them. And if I did, I would want to see personalities more than even high-level poker play, just for the entertainment factor. I like the table banter. I like the way it was when poker first boomed in the early 2000s to mid 2000s. The characters are what made the show. And, by now, for people that do watch these shows over and over and over, you're just seeing the same stuff for the most part, unless you have some fish in there that are just bombing pots left and right. So I don't know. I don't watch a lot of these streams, and I just feel they're a big time suck.
You did mention, actually, we used your tweet on the Tuesday show where you talked about William Kassouf, and you thought it was an egregious decision, paraphrasing, but you thought it was an egregious decision from the World Series of Poker to ban him for the rest of the year. So you like the personality. You're not quite in it for the very good, necessarily, poker play. You're more in it for the personalities that develop on these sorts of things.
Sure, but there's one thing that I didn't know. All I was watching was the clips. And then somebody told me if you had watched the actual streams and saw how much this guy was dragging the action down, then, it might be a different story. So, maybe I changed my tune a little bit there. But I guess there is a line that has to be drawn, and that's where, the tournament directors come in. So if they were dealing with that for days or levels and levels and levels, and he wasn't letting up, then I guess he probably did ultimately get what he deserved.
I'm excited that you said something. I wanted to bring this up at one point, and I think that's what most people are missing. People that don't play poker are saying, "Oh, I wouldn't be bothered by the table talk," or even people that did play poker saying, "I wouldn't be bothered by the table talk," and that's not the problem. Table talk isn't the problem. It's when he gets dealt like 9-3 off under the gun, pre-flop, and takes 35 seconds, 45 seconds to fold, and is blabbering on. Everyone else has got to. They need to play as many hands as possible to accumulate chips, and they don't want to see him sitting there taking. And that's what made it annoying, and that's what caused the whole problems. And that's why everyone's kept calling the clock on him, and that's what eventually put the 10-second runoff on him, or the timer on him. So I thought the WSOP got a little too far, but it's cool to see that he's banned. I think he deserved to be banned.
Before we move on from this topic, because we talked about Jeff Nadu, we cannot move forward without me asking you guys about all the content surrounding Jeff Nadu on a commercial flight. Flup, I'll start with you. Did you like the content? Some people thought it was really stupid. I was pretty locked into it. I thankfully had the stream open. We were in the office on Monday. We had the stream open when he actually arrived from his flight. So what did you make of it, Flup?
Extremely well done by Nadu. This was his best work. I mean, I thought at one point maybe he is on the no-fly list. I also thought maybe he's scared of flying. This was extremely well done. How he got to number 2 or number even 1 and trending on Twitter at one.
Yeah, he was number 1 at one point.
It doesn't even matter if he actually is scared of flying. He played it off so well. This is a masterclass in content. How can you hate on this? It doesn't matter if you think it was cringe. Extremely well done. He got all of Barstool involved. 10 out of 10. Brilliant work. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I was captivated, like absolutely captivated. Like that scene in the Barstool office where they're sitting around. I mean, that was like me in like some of our group chats here, and just like I actually like clicked on the got onto the Yak stream as they were watching him come off the plane. It's just phenomenal. I agree. That is his Mona Lisa, the Nadu peak here. Hopefully, the fucking guy learns to parlays it into something here where, I don't know, I'd like to see him return to Barstool or something. Like, I know Nadu's always switching it up, but I do think he would be this would be a good time to strike while the iron's hot.
And for you, China, this might be
one of those. Know who Nadu is. He's like, I've never seen a Nadu clip in my life.
I was gonna say this might be one of the time sucks you mentioned before.
No, I agree. I agree with Fluff. This was extremely well played. 10 out of 10. I've kind of been following the fly, no fly, how it originated, and I was thinking the same stuff. Maybe he's afraid of flying. He doesn't fly. But the best part of the whole thing is his flight was delayed 20 hours on the way back today. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah.
I said a lot on the Tuesday show. I come off like an ass because obviously he did end up flying. I was just like, I didn't believe there was any issue with him flying, but then when he was at the airport and then didn't get on a flight, that's when I was like, okay, well, now it's starting to get a little bit fishy. But
if you hear this, Nadu, please don't tell if that was intentional or not. Let that be a mystery.
Yes. I want to know. I have it in my mind some like anonymous Nadu troll got his information.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Is his name, the guy talked about his birthday 8 hours a day for the entire league. You have his birthday. You have what airport he's flying out of because he's doing a stream. Like, if you just called and had all that information, was like, oh, I forgot my confirmation number and canceled it. That I just want to believe that's what happened forever.
That's what he claims happened. That's what other people have claimed happened, is somebody got a hold of the airport and was able to get the flight canceled, which is pretty crazy. Some people thought that was like just insane behavior. Some people thought it was funny. I guess it's a little bit of both. It is like completely insane, and I would not recommend it at all. But also, I did find it a little bit funny. Do we agree on that?
Yes. And I mean, normally you wouldn't have that on a random person. You wouldn't have that much information.
Yeah, but yeah,
you could
don't post a screenshot of your ID.
Married 2 weeks ago. Here's her name, but I think you'd have enough for some customer service agent to be like, okay, yep, sir, flight's canceled.
Yeah, in the position of the dude, don't post a photo of your ID, leak your birth date, talk about what time your flight is, what airport you're flying out of. I guess that would have been maybe the smarter way to go about it. But happy he was able to prove that, yes, he is able to fly. But we're going to stick now into the poker world, get a little bit more serious with the poker in this one, because we're talking about the winner of the World Series of Poker main event and newest Poker Hall of Fame member, Michael Mizrachi, a.k.a. at the Grinder 44. Michael wins the beautiful bracelet from at Jostens, whatever that is, and the $10 million top prize. Congrats, Grinder. That's from the World Series of Poker. Quite a few people were singing his praises here. We have Tim Fioravanti, who said Michael Mizrachi won his last 10 all-in and calls on his way to victory. 9 of them were pre-flop all-ins. To go 9 for 9 in those hands, Mizrachi's chances were around 0.275%, 1 in 364. Aggression plus experience plus luck equals unstoppable. Jonathan Hales said the Grinder played 12 events this summer, cashed all 12, and won the 2 most prestigious bracelets in the game. Deeb may win the points race, but there should be an asterisk beside his player of the year because Mizrachi's summer is the best in World Series of Poker history. Finally, Phil Hellmuth said, Michael Mizrachi goes straight into the Poker Hall of Fame. No wait, no fuss, no muss, as all 33 Hall of Famers agreed unanimously. Never happened in the history of poker that someone went in like this, but then no one has ever pulled off a feat quite like this one. Grinder won the World Series of Poker main event and the Players Championship this year, his 4th Players Championship. Folks, he won the 2 most prestigious events at the World Series of Poker. By the way, the main event had over 9,600 players. All right, China, we'll go to you to lead off on this one. I'm going to defer on this topic because I don't know anything, but what did you're interested in talking about this? What about this has you kind of captivated?
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, to win 4 of those poker player championships is insane. And if you polled the people that play in that 50K poker players championship, a lot of them would probably rather win that than win the main event, just because of the prestige and who you're playing against, all the top competition you're up against. And I've seen a lot of people kind of bashing Mizrachi a little bit. I mean, for his style of play, and he's not playing like, all these wizards play now, and he just got lucky in this and that. And while some of that may be true, there's a lot that goes into the style of play that he plays. He's not gonna. I think he cashed in 12 of 12 events, but I know there's guys that I used to stake that play a similar style to this, and it's boom or bust. And if they get that chip stack, if they can get really lucky, maybe deep, a few different spots, people are going to give them action. And then before you know it, you're sweeping a tournament with a shitload of people in it. So I don't know. I think it's an amazing accomplishment. And I don't think anybody will ever do this again.
And you let me tee this up for you, Flatton, to respond, China. He doesn't play, as you said, like what you would call how a lot of guys play, like the perfect mass style, let's say, the solved poker style, or the style that like you're going to play like the EV math strategy 100% of the time, every time. Do you think that in the results we've seen gives him what I'll call, almost a bit of an advantage, because he's playing a style that's so hard to either predict or play against, or the hyper aggressiveness, or the lack of be able to predict what he's going to have? Is that, I guess I would say, what do you think what made this run for him? That's more than, if you win one World Series of Poker event, you obviously need some type of sun run in that. But to have the prolonged, this year, the tournament success he's had, I guess, tell me why he's this level of player in tournament poker.
I think a lot of it is it's kind of like an outlier scenario. He has to be running good in certain spots to get chips and just outrun people. He might, I think he was down to 2 big blinds late in the tournament here. I mean, and it's the same in the PPC. I haven't watched a lot of these live streams, but I'm guessing he's giving a lot of action, and he's probably gambling a lot when he's an underdog, PLO, no limit, and he just gains chips, and people are going to give him action. And I just think it's he may play great in certain spots, but a lot of it is how you run when you're when you need to run that good.
A hand that sticks out to me is when he got an all-in. I think it was one of, if not the biggest pot. He got kings versus ace king versus Wozniak, who ended up getting second, and it was 140 million chip pot. And Wozniak had 3-bet to 10 million chips, and Mizrachi made it 30 million off of the 70 million stack. And that was a very big mistake with ace king, because it doesn't give him a chance to fold. If Wozniak goes all in, he's now priced in and has to call. And a solver GTO style would have made it like 20 to 25 million chips. And that would have given him the ability to fold when Wozniak went all in. But because he was priced in and called, he ended up doubling up and winning it there. So you saw bad play combined with good luck equal a big victory here. So I think this is more of a sun run. It sounded like Sean, I thought there was some more skill there. And he certainly is good at capitalizing against weaker opponents. But when you're making it in deeper tournaments and you're playing with a lot of the good field that was left, like Kenny Hollart was very good. Adam Hendricks was good in the final table. Even Leo Margaret was quite good as well. He's just not winning in these spots and needs a lot of run good to survive. Early on in tournaments when it's a lot of fish, I certainly agree he can run people over.
Of course, that's like that's the skill part that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about how he plays in the later stages of the tournament.
Right.
It was clear that he wasn't playing optimally, and it took a lot of run good to win it. But you can get stacks playing against fish early in tournaments, playing like a hyper aggressive, seeing a lot of flops. They think you're crazy. You make some hands, and before you know it, you have a shitload of chips. So it's a boom or bust strategy, but I think for a guy who's playing like a non-quote GTO optimal, wizard type strategy, that's a fine strategy to have if you're trying to actually win the tournament and not just min cash like someone like Alan Kessler does every tournament.
All right, we'll get back to circle back in about 30 seconds, and we'll be reading your comments when we get there. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, Jacob Gramegna here, lead producer at The Hammer and your host of Circle Back. Do you want to know the best way to support what we're building here? Check out our sponsors. Seriously, we are selective with who we work with. We only want to team up with brands who offer actual value to bettors. We're not shilling junk, no miracle picks, and no knee brace endorsements. Just yet. If you enjoy the show and want to help us keep growing, then check out the links that are in the description and see what we've got lined up for you. Every visit helps, especially when I have to upgrade Knish's mic setup for the 10th time this month.
I'll put it that way.
First comment of the day comes from Jimmy Underwood 13, says, so I'm buying a pick, and if the pick has juice, I just add the dollar for the pick plus the juice I'm paying. No thanks. Too much free information. Can do it myself. China, you've always been on this stance here. Kind of goes back to the first topic that we had on the show today, but there's just so many other ways to profit. You don't need to buy anything, right?
Yeah, you don't need to buy anything, and if you do buy things, you're going to have to avoid so many landmines before you find the right things to buy. So I just believe that in the long run, the correct strategy is just network, and just let other people do the work for you. And all you have to do is attain accounts, and you can just run it up. There you go.
I'll give he probably won't even remember it, but Pizzola had a quote, it's a while ago now, I don't even remember what it was on, that you'll see so many people who buy picks that it gives you like an outlet to be like angry when the picks don't win or to blame somebody. His quote was something along the lines of like, you will take so much more enjoyment in betting and gambling, even if you're losing, of like you put your own work in, and imagine it leads to winning, then that's when like you really feel like the satisfaction, as opposed to buying somebody else's work. If you're not going to do it like China said and do it on up a more professional level with account, I think you're just better off betting your own opinion and taking your own like stock of it. And if you want to put the work in to try and do it in plus EV manner or a good manner, then there you go. If not, still there's no saltier person on earth than the customer who buys picks from and you can if you go to a RAS chat or a Discord or something and that's a service that had won over the long term. You talk to anybody that's sold. There's no more scorned person on earth than the person who's lost for a few weeks buying picks. So I agree. Don't do it for yourself.
What about you, Flep?
I have nothing to add. They nailed it.
All right, let's go to our next comment here, which comes from not_A_rapper_bets. Knish makes a great point on the Dina Titus and or other co-sponsors appearances at Bet Bash. Easy, quick appearance, get quick standing ovation, basically seal any Nevada gambler's vote for the rest of your time in office, all for 10 minutes of work and a quick speech written by some summer intern. Crazy how some politicians pass up easy campaigning, whereas others seem to have experts running their campaigns. Get Knish in Titus's office, and she'll probably advance even further than governor. Knish, you brought this point up. You're getting your praises here. You want to elaborate a little bit more on your idea? Dina Titus, by the way, if anybody doesn't know, is the representative of Nevada who is pushing hard for the Fair Bet Act, which we've talked a lot about, which helps out gambling. We talked a lot about on these shows recently. For anybody who hasn't tuned into those, Knish, you go ahead with more on this one.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is some intern, and I appreciate the kudos there, but like some intern in her office, that's doing her schedule, or her chief of staff or whatever, assistant is like, I don't know what the hell Bet Bash is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to send her here. And so, like, hey, we'll send a video or something. But if you really knew what the ovation you would receive when you'd get in there, you hire, a quick social team to come in there and take it's not like she's got to be there the whole time and, be listening to Zilbo and GRP talk about, NFL betting. You show up she's in Nevada. You make a show up for an hour, stop in, glad hand, Spanky, Derek Stevens, everybody's cheering. People are D, not D, you get a little of that. And then you play that video on your site for, how you stood up for the little guy. You stood up for, the poker players and gamblers all across the country, So, hey, and you know what? Hey, Dina, you watch out. Maybe I'm coming for that office one day. With ideas like this, hey, you never know, baby. Joey Congressman will, I might take it to the White House.
Well, maybe they're looking for a summer intern. You can find.
Well, hey, you got to start somewhere, baby.
Of course. The last one that we have here, coming at me directly, we have Blue Yays 2312 says, who was going to tell Jacob that the Sens did play a game on Parliament Hill a couple of years ago? So there was the market I pulled up about will the UFC host a fight at the White House by the end of the U.S.'s 250th anniversary, July 4th, 2026. And I likened a UFC event at the White House to a hockey game played at the Parliament in Canada, which apparently has already happened. And since we talked about it, there has been more discussion surrounding the possibility of the UFC event happening at the White House. China, we didn't get your thoughts on this because you weren't on the show last week. Do you think that this is something that's actually going to happen? Do you think it's feasible for a UFC event to take place on White House grounds?
We all know Trump does a lot of stuff that doesn't happen, China. So, tell us why this is different.
No, this is going to happen 100%. Like, it's out there. Trump's a big UFC guy. There is going to be a fight on the front lawn, and it's probably going to be John Jones and Tom Aspinall. I mean, that's just the way that Jones announced he's coming out of retirement just for this fight. They will at least get this fight set up to go down there.
Real quick, the Parliament Hill, I don't even remember that. The Senators played a game, also, Parliament Hill doesn't really...
It doesn't have, I will admit, it doesn't have the same grand feeling as the White House does.
I don't remember that at all, though.
I was actually going to just quickly check here because I don't recall this either, but apparently there was a Winter Classic that occurred in 2017 for the Ottawa Senators. Yeah, okay. right in front of the Parliament, like literally right in front. So, yeah, I guess if Canada can do it, then I guess so can America. And if somebody wants to Donald Trump is going to push to make this happen with his involvement with the UFC and his liking for the UFC. So, hey, another market. I won't put words into China's mouth, but he says 100% it's happening. Kalshi has it right now at 70%. So if I had played it last week, I would have been on a poor position when it was at 63%. You let us know again in the comments down below if you think this is something that is going to actually happen. We're going to switch gears now. We're going to go into the Sharp football preview that Jared Smith Bets posted. Jared Smith does NFL content and betting content in general. He's featured on the show multiple times in the past. He posted the @Sharp football preview. This is by Warren Sharp. Arrived today. Blown away by the depth. Literally, it's thicker than my mouse. And he shows a photo of the preview next to his mouse by his computer. Jokes aside, nobody does a better job than Warren compiling the info required to get me ready for the NFL season. Strongly recommend you purchase a copy. Okay, Knish, let's start with you. Let's firecracker out the gate. What are your thoughts on Warren Sharp and purchasing a preview like this?
Nobody does a better job at making people think he knows what he's talking about than Warren Sharp. He is the king of the, and it's like, I still think this isn't to take it as like, I don't think he's a smart guy. I still think in some aspects, especially in the past, he could have won betting NFL, but it's been this big ruse for a long time that he's putting on, and that's worked very well for him. That's got him a job at the Ringer and all that. Listen, if you just want a bunch of football data. I like the NFL football data. Maybe you want to buy the Sharp Football Preview, but I don't see there's not a lot. Like, there's so much NFL information out there. It's great that his team puts a bunch of it, into one spot. I don't know if this is like, for me, am I buying the Warren Sharp Preview, and loading it up? No, but if you're into that, I guess they like, hey, if you're, I don't know, okay, semi, interested NFL fan, maybe he gives you, that preview gives you a lot. I'm sure it has a bunch of information in it. Do I think that information's going to like tangibly help you like win betting, or in some instances? No.
Sorry, all the comments there from Joey Knish are of his opinion and aren't necessarily statements of fact. I will add
they're
on,
not.
right?
Listen, I say a lot of stuff that's out of pocket. So don't take that to the bank.
Flip, what's your thoughts on a preview like this?
I think Joey kind of nailed it there. If you're casual and you're not betting, probably good. Maybe make a purchase. Could be good to get a preview, get a basic understanding of teams. If you actually want to earn betting, probably better ways.
And I gave Jared credit for his his home run derby pitcher thread on Hit the Books this week. So I know Kirk has filleted him a few times, but don't be coming, Jared. Don't be coming for us this time, because this is a Warren Sharp troll, not a you troll. I'm glad you enjoyed the preview.
China, do you think there's value in getting a preview like this ahead of the NFL season?
Probably as much value as buying a fantasy football book to, in April, to see how your guys are going to do in the fall. Unless you like reading about odd facts and this and that and all kinds of crap that probably isn't going to help you, win money in the long run, then by all means go for it. But hopefully here, I know that Smith has mentioned in the past that Fezzik was like a great father figure type guy. Maybe, we can have Sharp as the second guy here, and now he has the dynamic duo. So there you go.
I didn't know he's made that characterization about Fez before, but God love him. I will say, to compare it to college football, I know people, and I've taken a few shots at the Phil Steele magazine over the last. He's kind of mailed it in over the last 5 to 7 years. But there's some college football mags that I know people still like and find value in. The difference being, there's so much roster turnover, and I'd call it new information year to year on a college football level, whereas the NFL doesn't have that much significance from, your key players or any of that. Like, I don't think that offseason magazine, that change is going to give you as much of a benefit or any type of EV as a college football magazine might have, or at least did in the past. And there's just, I don't know, there's so many different ways now in the end, like, to gain information on previews and stuff. The preview mag seems to me just like kind of a dated concept.
I'm looking at the photo here. Look at the size of this thing. What could possibly be in this book? Like, what could possibly fill up all of these pages? There's just no way. Well, I find it hard to believe that there would be many things of significance that you would need to know ahead of the NFL season. Go ahead.
I think what you can do is, like, I haven't read it or know anything about it, but if you think every single player, you have the information on every single player, like maybe all their stats, their college stats for every single player for every single team, that could add up to quite a bit of players. We're talking about 1,500 players at this point or more. So that could make a big book.
I guess
you can make a big book,
right? I guess, you know what, I'd have to purchase the book to find out. I would personally find it a bit hard to believe that this would enhance my ability to bet on the NFL, but maybe there is value out there for some people.
Maybe Jared will let you borrow his copy.
Yeah, hey, we bring it to Bet Bash and I'll have a little skim through and see what I think maybe before I purchase. We'll go to our next topic here, into the golf space. We have the Open Championship going on this weekend, but we have a different tournament, which the name is escaping me right now. It's like the Barracuda something.
Barracuda, yeah.
The Barracuda Championship, which was set to feature a very well-known golf YouTuber in Grant Horvat at Grant Horvat Golf. He has 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube. He was supposed to be playing in this event as like a celebrity guest, I suppose. But then he had this to say after he pulled out of the event. He says, unfortunately, I will not be playing in a PGA Tour event. The rules and regulations around the PGA Tour tournament play will not allow us to film. The only reason I was in the position to receive an invitation like this is because of YouTube and you all watching the video. So if I'm going to play, we want to film it. I am hopeful that this won't always be the case. I would be honored to play in a PGA Tour event and bring you all along in the future. Huge thanks to you. Huge thank you to the Barracuda for the invite and belief in YouTube golf. There was divided opinions on this. George Savarikis, I hope I said that correctly, says to actually think you could use your own film crew during a PGA Tour event is absolutely mind-blowing. Jake Knapp's lifting coach at Talk Birdie to me says the PGA Tour are idiots and Grant Horvat is a bigger idiot. I get TV rights, but they can't let one camera follow him. Does network even care? It draws eyes to the event and the network. Grant is a bigger idiot because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he's going to pass on that because of clout. How could nobody find a solution to this, get everyone in a room and make it work? People didn't like it, but we have some people who did like it and supported this. We have Haley Ray Ostrom at Haley Ostrom, who does golf content, is also a professional golfer. Says people forget that professional golf isn't Grant's dream. He wants to be a YouTuber and has become a great one. The point of playing for him would be to film and share the experience with his audience. If he can't, then why take the spot from someone else if he doesn't want it? And we have McKenna White, who also does sports content in general, says, I think it's really cool and mature that a 26-year-old Grant Horvat realizes his YouTube channel and subscribers got him where he is today. It's even cooler that he declined a cool opportunity because he wasn't able to share it on the platform that got him where he is today. Leave the poor kid alone. You don't need to understand and agree with everyone's choices. You're all being bullies. At Grant Horvat Golf. All right, Flup, your thoughts on this? Bad move, good move from Horvat. What do you think?
What I don't understand is, couldn't he get film footage from PGA after and put that on YouTube? That's what I'm missing here. If he can do that, I don't see a problem. But I saw
he
another.
Probably does a lot of like up close personal content.
Fair,
in the way that Bryson DeChambeau does. I'm not a big golf YouTuber watch. I mean, I don't watch any YouTube golf, but that sort of content, I guess, is what he's looking for. So
I saw some ulterior theories that I think might be true here, that he doesn't want to get exposed in terms of everyone thinks they're a good golfer.
Yes.
And then you go against the pros and you realize you're not a good golfer. And I've seen a couple of his videos before. He strikes me as quite good, probably the top 0.1%. The problem is the people playing at the PGA, even the ones playing the Barracuda that aren't good enough to play on the Open, are still like top 0.001% and would cook him. And it might not be fun to be dead last, 8 strokes behind second to last, going into the PGA Tour. And maybe that loses in credibility. I don't know, and we'll never know if that's the true reason, but that's a theory that I believed. It reminds me of the Brian Scalabrine challenge, where he goes and plays these random D1 basketballers or these YouTube basketballers that think they're so good. And Brian Scalabrine, who's a scrub in the NBA, comes in and cooks them. And it's like, yeah, Grant's good when he's not on the PGA Tour, but when he's playing against real pros, he's probably not good anymore.
I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me.
Exactly.
That's it. I will say, this seems, from a business standpoint, like, what kind of fucking idiot? Like, okay, even if you can't film it, have your crew film you walking in, have them film you on the driving range, have them film you afterwards doing a how was it like. Like, you can still have your crew there. Just because you can't film on the course, which I don't blame the PGA for not letting him have his own film crew on the course, not only for TV rights, but like just for a number, like you can't bring outside of your caddy. It's like you can't have it's like you can't have your coach around yelling you instruction out there. Same with the film crew. So I don't blame them at all for not letting him do this. It just seems like a ridiculous missed opportunity where even if you finished last or something, you can parlay that into more content. I don't understand this decision in any capacity. And the whole like, okay, those two, I don't know. Listen, I don't know either of the two girls you brought up there, but like it's so cool that he's he's doing this for the people. Get the fuck out of here. He's not doing this for like, there's obviously some business strategy that's probably stupid. He's not doing it because like, I can't bring you guys with me to the course. So I just can't, I don't have the heart to do it. Give me a fucking
he can't monetize it anymore. I would say that's
right.
more likely.
And just like, how are you passing up? Like, if your golf is your livelihood, like you're gonna pass up an opportunity just to play, and maybe, hey, I don't know, maybe the guy plays great, maybe he's in contention, maybe he makes the weekend or something. So just like, do you have a competitive hype, like any type of like, is something in your soul that like wants to, like, if you got an opportunity, what I'm saying, like if Joey K doesn't play basketball anymore. But at one point, in the old days, play hoops. Like, if you got a chance to, like, think about, like, play in an NBA, even if you think you're going to get smoked, like, you wouldn't want to just experience that? I don't know. I'm out on this, the guy.
Really, do you not buy the theory that, like, if you're watching Grant, you might think he's a good golfer, and then if you see him get absolutely cooked, maybe you don't want to tune into him anymore because you realize.
Yeah, but like, do I have I don't know. I guess maybe some people have that. I wouldn't watch the YouTube golfer and be like, oh, this guy, guy looks like Tiger Woods. I think he'd be better than him if he played on the tour. It's just the tour back.
You wouldn't. I would think you wouldn't stop enjoying the content because all of a sudden, like, oh, this guy was a fraud the whole time. He's actually not good at golf. I'm not gonna subscribe to his channel anymore. China, we haven't gotten your thoughts on this, so let's hear him.
Yeah, I'm with Knish here. I think this guy, I mean, when I first read this tweet, the first thing I said was, this guy's a big time fucking loser. I mean, why would you not film content 3 days before, 2 days before, the day leading up, going to sleep the night before, the driving range, etc. And like Knish said, like, if I was invited to an NBA, even celebrity all-star game because I was, some type of content creator, of course you're going to go do it. And they're not going to let you bring your fucking camera out onto the court so you can film in whatever. And they would probably let you use the clips later. And even if they didn't, even if you did go out there and you did suck, you're still you're not going to lose people. You're probably going to gain followers for that. You might get some haters, but that increases your following sometimes.
You can't do this at any PGA event. You can't. I don't know any sport that would allow this. You can't do this in the MLB, NHL, NBA. You can't do this in the Premier League. Like there's a goalie who used to play in the Premier League named Ben Foster who did content when his team was in the second division. He had a GoPro and net that he did content with. But when his team got promoted to the Premier League, that was done. That was no longer happening. And it's not like he's going to leave that role to go play in the Lesser League to be able to do that. Like, so I don't understand here. Flip, you actually brought up a really good point there. Like, maybe it was something about not getting exposed because as far as like building his YouTube channel, like China Knish said, content before in the buildup. Even if he does poorly, you can spin that into content as well and kind of, make fun of yourself. I think that's content as well. The amount of people who will see you in this event and might go to your YouTube channel as a result, like viewership is only bound to increase by like what the commentators are surely going to be talking a lot about this. His clips are going to be all over Twitter because this is such a well-known player playing in this that there's going to be clips. Grant Horvat, birdies the 9th or whatever, and that makes it to Twitter. That makes its rounds. So maybe it is something along the lines of he didn't want to expose himself as not being as good. I don't know.
Honestly, Knish and China's kind of convinced me that like even if he was probably like 8 or 10 strokes under second to last, which I imagine he probably would be, it's still like you can still spin that in a positive light. But maybe it's kind of like a fear of failure internally. Like he can always say that like if something had happened earlier, he could have played on the PGA Tour. But now that you have a chance, it's too real. What happens if he goes and chokes and just loses by 20 strokes? Sure, it doesn't kill his content or whatever. I think they've convinced me of that. But now he never gets to say that like, oh, I could have made it on the PGA Tour. No, you never were going to make it on the PGA.
Unless his shtick was like, which I don't know, I don't even know who this guy was. Or I've never.
That's like, part of the issue. None of us are familiar.
Yeah, unless it was like, I can turn you into a PGA golf. Like if you watch my content,
I don't think that's what it is.
I don't think it is either. But like same thing of like almost like a big tout. If you follow me, you can be a winner. Of like if you watch my channel, I can improve your game. You can get to a certain level. Maybe then be like, oh wait, this guy sucked. He doesn't even belong on the tour. But I don't think that's it either. So. I don't see any rational reason for this, and it seems like he's also getting cooked by most people. Like the response to this of him bailing on it has been like, "You're an idiot," more so than a couple of girls that are like, "Oh, they're bullying him."
Here's the other thing. He's never going to get invited back. So, for turning them down and doing this, if golf is your thing and something like this comes up in the future, he's not getting invited, So there you go.
Perhaps burned his one chance. Last tweet on this one, Masters Burner at ANGC_burner says he has the photo of I forget the exact name of the painting, but it's like freedom of speech or something. The man defiantly standing in the crowd. It says, "I don't give a fuck about YouTube golf." And maybe you watching feel the same. But hey, a lot of people do like it, including CEO of the Hammer, Rob Puzzola. I wonder if he has something to say on this one. Next up, we have Harut at BetLikeHarut, who we featured actually on the Tuesday show as well for conversations around when to hedge. But he actually talked about some scenarios here in which he feels as though you can take a minus EV cash out opportunity and turn it into a plus EV opportunity. This was hashtag circle backed by Sean at Celiot6. Thank you so much for using hashtag circle back. As a reminder, if you want us to see some content to potentially feature in any of the episodes we do, you can always reply to it on Twitter with the hashtag circle back, just like this person here. So the tweet says, perspective, cashing out below face value when it can upgrade your EV is underrated. 1, freeze funds when you can't or won't redeposit, in parentheses, timing, balance, etc. 2, roll funds into higher EV spots. 3, the cash out can look suboptimal to the book and help that account last longer. We haven't lit off with you a ton, China, but I would like to know if you want to lead off here and kind of talk. Would you ever consider doing something like this? Have you ever employed strategies like this?
I'll tell you a story at the end of this, but like somebody that's not going to redeposit isn't going to know what a high EV spot is anyway. So like, I don't know about number 2. But yeah, I don't think a sports book is going to look at you as a fish. Maybe they do, but I don't think they're going to look at that and just mark you as a fish and give you like an endless leash to just butcher them over and over. But I will give you a cash out story. I had this big bet on a baseball game about this is the only time I've ever done a cash out too, I think. This is about 5 years ago. I had $15K on the Orioles on like a plus 300. They were up 6 runs going into the 9th inning, and they wound up, they were up 6. They gave up like 10 runs, and somehow I got an even cash out, and I couldn't hit that button so fast. So that's the only time I've ever used that cash out button. So there you go. And I rolled that into some plus EV stuff. But for the average bettor, they're not going to know what a plus EV spot is anyway. So I don't know. I think I don't really agree with any of this.
I completely disagree with China here. I actually really liked what her said here. I've had this spot come up multiple times. There can be a spot where you have a new account and you can't get funds into it. It might take it 24 hours, 48 hours to get funds into it. Okay. It's not really like you are like low bankroll and you have all your fund side. You need to moving money around takes a while. And say you have a tennis match early in the day and it gets suspended, say for 24 hours. It's the next day. You might have 5 or 6 NBA games that you want to get action down on, that one bet is tying up some of your funds. And if you cash out at like a minus 3% or whatever, you can roll that into, and it's actually going to be a plus EV cash out because you're going to be able to parlay that volume that you wouldn't have got that you're now getting and making more plus EV spots, et cetera, et cetera. Additionally, I do think that the books look at cashing out as kind of a fishing. And I think China's right. They're not going to give you an unlimited leash here. But what they are going to do is say, like, you're making suboptimal decisions. You're more likely to be a recreational. And if they have profile reports on like what your expected ROI is, that's going to only decrease it. And if you're betting properly, other bets should be cloaked and not being seen as winning bets in the future. So it's just going to help your account survival even a little bit. China's right. It's not going to make a massive difference here. And finally, there could even be spots where it's a small cash out that the book might appear as negative, but it's actually positive expected value, where like if one book is so far off market and you can't arbitrage it in any other site or anything like that, the cash out might be really good if if the whole market is much lower. So there can be multiple reasons why to make a quote unquote negative EV cash out. And I think they can be used. It doesn't come up quite often for me, but it has come up multiple times.
Yeah, I would say I'm more on the China camp of just I haven't used it particularly, like in the manners that Harut's speaking to in most cases. I feel like there'd be I'll give you like a scenario where, if I got Chargers, +3 and then Justin Herbert's ruled out and I'm on the screen or I'm in the account and I can boom cash it out, even though I'm cashing it out at a small loss on the position I have, then re-up at, if I still think, it moves to, +7, +7.5 with the backup, I still think that's a positive, then maybe I'll re-up the bet right there. I don't have a lot of scenarios outside of that, or like, a player prop or like a player future or something that where if a guy gets injured, you try and cash it out before, he gets pulled. Those are the only scenarios where I can like have done any type of cashing out in the Harut scenario. And I get Fluff's point that, the theoretically it is possible. It just, I don't think that's what I'll say would work for most people. And I don't think that from an account standpoint, it would give you too much additional longevity either.
All right. Now is the time for us to move to the chopping block on today's show. This is a content that doesn't quite warrant full-scale segments. We still wanted to discuss anyways. If you're enjoying, by the way, so far, please make sure you do hit that like button. Make sure as well you're subscribed to the channel. Help pump us up to 20,000 subs and keep seeing more Circle Back content and more content coming soon on the channel. First up, we have Jeff Feinberg, who posted the behind-the-scenes footage of him and GRP wins. Yes, we had Takes by Jason Cooper, who is our host and producer on the Forward Progress channel for NFL content here at The Hammer. Also appears on this show quite regularly as well. Jeff Feinberg, always on the Tuesday Circle Back. They went down to Chicago to visit GRP wins and a little bit of taste of what is potentially behind the scenes there. I just wanted to bring that up. You guys have anything, Knish? You excited for this content to come out?
I'm excited. Jeff, give me he said, do you have anything for GRP when he was going down? I think this will be fantastic content, and I'm excited about it.
What I'm looking forward to the most, I asked Jason to make sure this gets axed. I have to know where the money's coming from, because I'm not sure if it's coming from the betting. I see him at diners every morning. I see him at restaurants every night. I see these big time draft props. He's putting money down. I give credit to him. He's talking game. He's putting money down. But I'm curious as to where this is all coming from. We'll go to you on the next one, China. You shared in our group chat here photos of the disaster of a deck that is being built in your backyard. You said deck job gone wrong, 5-day job turned into 4 weeks of this. So you're having a composite wood deck built around your above ground pool in your backyard. And to describe the photos for people who aren't listening here, there's some very awful cuts on the composite, like right around where you're going to be stepping to get in the pool. There is a staircase that has been like almost sawed in half and just left there as is with a big gap. There is garbage and discarded wood, 2x4s left all over the backyard, a wheelbarrow, exposed screws underneath the deck. China, what is this nightmare going on? How did this happen?
All right, so I decided to expand my deck and double the size. I hired the kid that built the original deck. Kid did an amazing job. Now he pulls the GC scumbag move of all time and subs the job out to somebody. Not only does he sub the job out to somebody, that guy doesn't even do the job, and he just leaves 2 guys in my yard to do this deck job. Now, the one thing I am fortunate about right now is the deck itself is actually level, but those cuts and that stuff, oh man, I almost had a heart attack when I went out there and saw this thing. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I told them, I said, keep the deck maybe 1 inch to 1.5 inches, 2 inches max off the pool. So what they did was they just jigsawed it all the way around and just made sure each spot was 2 inches off the pool. I come home and my wife's just looking at me, staring at me. She didn't say anything. I knew what she was thinking, and that's exactly what she was thinking about. So fortunately, they got off the job. I didn't pay them all the money, and I have a Jedi coming in to reconstruct the whole thing.
Oh, I gotta ask, I don't know if I'd hire you as the project manager for my next renovation. So this was a 5-day job. Where did you not look at? Were you not home? Or like this? How did you not go out there and kind of do a quick like, hey, just seeing what's happening out here, and then be like, wait, this doesn't look great.
Well, that's what I did when they made those cuts. I went out there and I was like, hold on. And then they recut it. They put in a new border, which they tried to charge me extra for fixing all those cuts. They tried to tell me now I ordered a custom border and I had to pay an extra $2,000, which is insane. But what happened after about 5 days, we had the 4th of July come up. I went on vacation. They said they were taking vacation the same week. So before you know it, it spilled over. It trickled a little bit here, a little bit there. And then finally this Monday, I just had to call the thing off. And, the guy that actually contracted the job out to somebody else, he agreed with me. He's like, I think that you should do that. He's like, I can't do it. But like, he definitely fucked me over by subbing the job out because he's the guy that I wanted to do the work.
Yeah,
but I want to leave. One thing I want to leave with all the listeners here is when you get a house and you start doing these renovations and projects and all that type of stuff, make sure the people you are using have a portfolio and they are all 5 stars or as close to 5 stars as possible, because it doesn't matter who you use. Even if you do use people that are 5 stars, they're going to cut corners, but usually they will honor the work and fix it. In this case, I probably cut a little bit of a corner by having this kid do it. But again, I did have his past performance. The first deck he did was mint. But just make sure you get everything in writing and you know who's going to do the work and they're going to be there every day, or people will just take on too many jobs and they will fuck you over.
So I didn't quite understand when you were messaging about it in our group chat. So the original contractor you hired another contractor who didn't work for him to do the project. Correct.
It was his friend. The way he phrased it to me was, he said, okay, I'm going to have my friend XYZ help me with the job. He helped me when I built your original deck. So I said, great. Like, he worked under you and you guys did a great job. But now he left it to that guy who left it to his 2 workers who made those cuts, cut those stairs. That trash has been in my yard for a month. It took me 2 hours just to get the trash organized. Nails are on my deck. I got a 6-year-old running around out there. Nails, screws, wheelbarrows still out there, hoses. It's just a danger zone right now.
I think that's crazy because I used to work for a contractor. I was second command at this contracting business, and I would get left at a job like this so my boss could go elsewhere. But I worked for him, so it was still him representing it. The fact that it's they hired somebody else, like you could have just hired somebody else if they couldn't do it. I think that's absolutely insane. Hopefully it gets fixed up for you. And I do agree, going to a new contractor is the right move. Next up, we have some news around Barstool and Dave Portnoy. On3 Sports has a tweet here that says, report Fox Sports and Barstool are nearing a deal that would include Dave Portnoy on Big Noon Kickoff at FOS reports. And then Front Office Sports at FOS says Fox Sports is nearing a deal with Barstool Sports that would see Dave Portnoy appear on Big Noon Kickoff. But they think that this is Fox is betting on the move being a counterpunch to ESPN's Pat McAfee on College Game Day. Let's go to you first in this one, Flip. We haven't heard from you in a while. Do you have any strong opinions around Dave Portnoy, Pat McAfee, the content they do?
I actually like Pat McAfee's content quite a lot. I'm not a super big Barstool guy. I think they're cool with some of their clips. I thought Nadu was funny. I think Jack Mack is funny. I like watching some of those guys. But I'm not super into this at all. I find McAfee very funny. I think Portnoy in general is very funny. It'd be cool to see a good rival content. I think competition breeds out the best. So hopefully it works out for them. I don't have any strong takes, though. I'm excited to see it. I'm really easy with content. I find most content to be quite good. I don't really hate a lot of content.
I don't really love. I'm not a McAfee guy to begin with, but even though I find Portnoy entertaining in this format, in the pregame show format, when you just add somebody in there for the entertainment aspect, it usually doesn't go particularly well. You're just adding Portnoy to a cast that he usually doesn't belong to. Like if he's in his element in, a Barstool roundtable where, everyone's got the rapport, he's picked the people, they're talking college football. It's much different when you're just on kind of like a public broadcast show where you can't say as much. You get these small blocks of times to make points. From a McAfee standpoint, he's trying to be a little bit of like comedic relief and something. I don't know. I'm not a big pregame show guy to begin with. And then adding in people who are there more for their brand than for like what they bring to the show or any analysis. I just don't think it works particularly well, but I see why Fox, I guess, is trying to answer with their own version of what ESPN's doing. So
how about you, China?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth it. I mean, you could hit a home run here. It might be dull, but like, again, I think kind of like Knish said, like you're going to need the Barstool roundtable there, and whether are they going to give them that much time? You're going to need Portnoy, Big Cat, and then whoever else they have that stirs the straw. But it will be entertaining. If this is Fox is still Big Ten, right? Is it still Big Ten?
Yeah,
Do we know?
It's like it's broken up a little bit now where they get, so Fox still has some like the big noon like kickoffs and that, but now like Fox has like pieces of different conferences as well, like Big 12 and stuff.
Well, we know Urban Meyer's on there, so it'll be interesting having the Portnoy, Michigan versus Urban Meyer type thing, but I don't know. I guess it's worth it. It's like, it's like taking a shot on an originator. Maybe they're going to be great, but this could be a big bust too.
And the last one that we have up on the show today comes from Spanky, Sharp Better hosting Bet Bash coming up, which we will have Hammer people in attendance. We have a live circle back there as well for you to potentially check out. And it says, attention Spank Odds users. Spank Odds, very widely known odds screen in the space, but they have changed their name now to Spot Odds. The Spank Odds brand is too risque for potential future corporate partnerships. You will still see temporarily some Spank Odds branding as we complete the transition process. Same great product, same great customer service, different name. You can follow us at Real Spot Odds. I mean, I kind of understand to a degree when I first, got involved with Rob and BetStamp and in the betting space in general. I also was kind of puzzled by the name, but I'm not sure about the change to Spot Odds. Your thoughts overall on this one, Knish?
I got a lot of thoughts on odd screens. We can probably do it in a more in-depth on another day. Another, great odd screen. BetStamp has a nice odd screen. There's also another product out there that I won't mention that I think is gaining some popularity. That's a little bit more, price friendly. I will. The name itself, I thought they could have shifted a little bit to, if you weren't going to go with Spank Odds, maybe something a little like, I know Spot Odds is kind of like, SP, I guess, but I understand it. If you're trying to do the corporate partnership thing and go up the chant, then, you probably don't want to have, a girl's ass on your product and the slap to start, starting the thing. So yeah, if you're at some point you got Joey Corporate knows that in this building, you wouldn't be able to start your Spank Odds up. So I get the change. I'd love to do a deeper dive into the world of odd screens at some point at a later date.
Hey, let us know in the comments if you want to see something like that as well. Anything to add from you, Flup?
I think the best part of this was just a comment I saw. Should we call you Spotty now? To Spanky? that was so funny. That was the best I've seen from this. Like, I don't care if it's I don't use Spank Odds. They're not really good for what I want. They're a good product in general. I know a lot of friends that use them. I don't personally know, so it's not going to change regardless. I would be shocked if anyone now doesn't want to use it because it's a name change. It doesn't mean anything. I just thought that one comment was hysterical, and I hope that nickname sticks. That would be funny if everyone started calling him Spotty now. It doesn't mean anything. It's not like a negative or anything. It's just funny.
Should change his Twitter name, not his handle, but his Twitter name to Spotty for this. I think it would add a little bit of promo, no? China, we'll give you the last word on this before we wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right move. I mean, I think my wife came through once when I was doing some stuff, and I had the free trial there. And you got spanking the girl in the ass. That's why you had to spend so much
money on a new deck for her.
There you go. Yeah.
Spank Odds sound and said, "Wait, I'm getting Andy Benoit or whoever that CEO was we talked at the start of the show."
it's just one of those things when, like, I think the way he explained it was, it's going to be hard to move on with like sponsors or this or that with the whole spank odds thing. So yeah, it just seems like it's the right move. So yeah, we'll have to start calling him Spotty this summer, right?
That will wrap up the show for today. If you could take one thing away from this one, is if you are going to cheat, we don't recommend it, but if you are going to cheat, don't go to a Coldplay concert, and especially don't react like somebody got shot, essentially, when you do appear on the Jumbotron. That is it from us here at Circle Back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you do hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this. We're back on Tuesday with more Circle Back with the Tuesday crew featuring myself, Rob Pizzola, Jeff Feinberg, and Kirk Evans. We very much hope to see you there.